What's up, guys? Code Vlogs Day 10 on Ancient Archer. I've been working on this on my little laptop, so I'm just getting back to my desktop and synchronizing some changes. Uh, wow, I have so much to share this episode, and I feel like I'm definitely going to forget to cover some of the stuff I want to cover, so I'll do my best here. Alright, I want to point out the first thing. Just last episode, I said, hey, the render's been updated, and oh my goodness, this never ends. I'm just gonna have to stick with the old version, version 3.3. All right, let me just show you. All right, so when we try to use this new version, it works fine when we're in debug mode. Let me hit play here. I'll talk about a bunch of stuff that I've kind of redone and some things that I've learned while redoing this, because there have been a few realizations that make a big difference going forward. All right, let me just keep this running here. All right. Oh, it's not totally up to date, I don't think. No, it's missing some of the updates. All right, well, we're in debug. It renders fine. That's the point here. Hold on, we need to... I don't know if it actually got the changes. Let me check something here. Yeah? It should have all the new stuff. Let me try it in release mode here. Alright, so I put in release mode. I'm going to build. This should be identical to the build on my laptop, so it should work as expected, but I'm having a little oddities here going. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it actually built. So, IMGUI is integrated a lot better. I'll talk about that here more in a second. But I redid the first person controls and how they're handled, and it's a lot better. And as you can see, the render, it's not perfect. You know, the light's a little weird and all, and the ground looks weird. That's more the fault of my models and the way I've arranged things than anything else. It is working okay here. But, let's see, if we go to use 4.3 and turn this to true, like it was working last episode, and this is on the lit vertexes, so this is going to be this dude. Oh my goodness. We get back to this. I don't know what this is. Clearly some of the vertices are getting snapped to the 0, 0 position. I don't know why. I don't know what the heck's going on there. But if we do the same build in debug, it works fine. And that's what I was talking about the last episode. I was in debug where it works fine, but in release it does not. And also for some reason it's not loading the other things here when in debug. So I don't know what the heck's going on. There's some definite oddities going back and forth. And they don't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Because like, let's see, let's check the set models. Yeah, this should set all this stuff. Now, if from what I understand, it is some return value optimization of some sort that's happening in release mode that's causing this. It's maybe calling a destructor or something, or is arranging this data differently than I'm striding it. And I don't know why. I've looked and looked and I can't figure it out. So we're just going to stick with the old version. It's reliable. There's no reason to upgrade if the old one works fine. And, you know, the new one works fine in debug, but on release. And that's just so weird. I've looked. I don't know if you have any other ideas other than some return value optimization thing, because this does go through a model loader, and I looked through all that and tested some things and I couldn't figure it out. All right, but we're going to move on from that. We're just going to leave it the old version for now. It's fine. It's not hurting anything. And what else to talk about? Oh, the reason it's not rebuilding in the debug mode is because I have something in here that's not compiling. It is, let me find it here. This right here, this is not compiling. So yeah, we got to get rid of that. So that's the whole problem here, is why the debug one wasn't looking any different. All right, well, let's go ahead and rebuild this. It's a little sample project here. Hit play. And it snaps us in this. Okay. Yeah, I got it moving the cam in some weird directions here. Accidentally, but it's that's a little bit more to sort out. So previously, in old versions, I had the callbacks. I had it switching between like a normal mouse reporting and a first person mouse reporting. And the first person mouse reporting, let me find it down here, it's huge. One of these here, this one here. It was this whole custom setup that was built into the engine that would do all this stuff, but ultimately this doesn't make sense to put on the engine side. This is an end user decision. All I really need to do is update the mouse position and they can decide. So all I did, and I could have realized this a long time ago, but you know, it is what it is. All right, so it's just this here, this mouse handling function. So basically I just have some logic to track the delta whenever it's disabled, and I have some special settings because I want to be able to open an inventory and go out of FPP mode, and that works. I can show it right here actually. In FPP mode, mouse moves things around. If I hit tab, makes a little sound effect, and I'm now in inventory mode where I can still walk around, but my cursor is now clicking on the screen. And that re-entering is to snap everything to the center so it doesn't fly. Because there's something obscure happening that, or not obscure, but about GLFW in this handling that I didn't really get till recently. Let me just find it here so I can explain it. All right, the cursor mode. In GLFW, they've got hidden, disabled, and normal. And for disabled, they say that it's like snaps the, it leaves the cursor in the center, which is not true. It doesn't leave it in the center. And I can show you what actually happens. And once I realized this, I was able to make my own little controls without too much thought. Before I was just like, I'm just going to copy paste what works. I don't fully understand it. Doesn't seem like a snap into the center. It's because it's not. Let me just find it here. So if we uncomment this IO stream and we uncomment this mouse position, now all this does is just reports where the mouse is on the screen. And I'm going to show you how this actually works. And with this logic in mind, you can design your proper thing. All right. So when the mouse is disabled, which it is right now, you can see the X position, if I'm going left, goes way negative, and it just keeps going negative. It's in the negative 20,000, negative 30,000. So it doesn't reset to 0. You just have to track the delta and the last X since you got the delta and apply that. So it wasn't too bad to reason about once I figured out that this is how it works. It just keeps going. And this is a thing you notice on a lot of applications. Whenever you click like and I've noticed on Blender, whenever you click some scrollable thing, it disables your mouse while you're scrolling it so that you can just keep going with the slider scroll even off your screen if it's huge. You see that in a lot of apps, so that's how they do it. It's pretty cool. And I didn't really realize how it worked until I started to dig in and rewrite it, because previously I was just using the function from Learn OpenGL, which is a fine function, but this one makes a lot more sense for me going forward because this is literally all the engine does is updates the position. However the end user wants to handle it, that's fine. We don't need to have that in the engine. It's just it's a Yagni thing. You ain't gonna need it, right? Because the engine doesn't need it for any reason. End users could need it for the game if they want, but you know, they're designing the game, they get to decide that. So a lot of great learning experiences here. And I'm pretty sure there's something else I wanted to show. I just gotta think of it. What was it? Well, I started not redoing, just I kind of reorganized the example project to make a little more sense. It just takes the Ancient Archer header and does an instance init. Well, calls it an instance. So these are the two globals. You got a game and instance. Now, Ancient Archer is like the media control stuff, handles all that, and the game is just going to handle all the logic. So I've got to run through a setup. Ancient Archer is going to run any of the game updates and the game teardown. I don't really use the teardown yet, but it's a shutdown function essentially. But since it automatically adds the my game update, we can take this game and have an update here and just anything we put in this function is always going to work and be in that main update. So there you go, you can see the main character update. It's basically processing the move. I also cut back a few other functions. I guess it's the last thing I'm going to talk about. It's getting a little long. But there were a bunch of functions that I determined weren't all that necessary. Sure, there's plenty more, but the cursor, see this mouse stuff, these are all getting cut because that's end user decision, not something that needs to be in the engine. And this GUI is going away because I am implementing IMGUI in a pretty fully functional way. I guess I can show that. That'll be the last thing. There might be more stuff. I've been working on this a lot the last 2 days. But yeah, we want to get rid of this GUI and we want to use the IMGUI. Now the IMGUI, you might have noticed there's no functions in here for it. Actually, there is one because we're just going to put it on the updates, the IMGUI update. Now I have an IMGUI class and I'm not going to pretend that this is the best way to do it. This is a hack job. IMGUI class, we can initialize it with our GLFW window for OpenGL. And if I add Vulkan or whatever, I can add a function for that too. It's got just like the recommended IMGUI stuff, a shutdown, a new frame, and a render. And you're supposed to do new frame, update, render as you go. So this will do the new frame and the render, but we need to do the update somewhere else, because if I just hard code it in here, it's going to get, you basically have to go edit the engine class. So I wanted to do it in a way where you don't have to edit the engine class to do your own GUI. And the way we do that is we have these functional loops, the functional base. So we have this add to IMGUI update, takes a function, and you basically just put your IMGUI update in that, and a way to remove it, of course, and the actual unordered map of all of them. So what you end up doing is, here we go, you basically just do this. You just take your instance that you initialized and add to IMGUI update, and you basically can copy paste any IMGUI code into this update, and it's gonna, it already does the new frame and render part. It just needs the update in the center. So I can show you that too. We're bouncing around all over the place at this point, but hey, we're digging in. So yeah, there's an update here on Ancient Archer that runs every time, and it goes through all the logic it needs to go through. And then there's a render, and on the render, this is where all the IMGUI stuff happens. Now this might not be correct. Maybe I should have like some of this stuff in the update and only the render here or something, but whatever, it's fine for now. It's going to be the last thing that's drawn anyway. So yeah, here it is. There's the IMGUI new frame, and there's the render. Those are always the same, but whatever you add to the update, that's what actually updates. So that gives the end user, like in this example project, the ability to just have their own IMGUI function, add to it. You can remove it if you want, and you can set your variables with it. So currently it's just a demo right now, but I could tie any of this stuff to the rest of the game, which I plan on doing, making a better example of it. All right, wow, this has been a lengthy one. There's probably more, but yeah, I think this version's getting close to coming out. I really want to get to animations, but I just had to sort out a few other loose ends that were bothering me. And I think once we're done with that, we're on to the next. Now, I might just, I got to think about it. I'm going to take a day or two. I usually like to try to get a release out on Friday if I can. So I got a couple more days. I'll see about getting animations in. If it happens easily, I'll put it in version 6. If it doesn't happen easily, I'll push it back to version 7. I'll release version 6. Kind of ready to go here. Another thing I wanted to do was get rid of this example project and make it its own repo that like sub-modules in this project, and just make only the core tests come with AA engine, because you can run these. Okay, I crashed something. one of these tests just see tests if it initializes correctly, like so, and the other test just make sure that it returns -4 if you don't initialize it. And we'll be adding more tests, but they're kind of hard to add without. We need some sort of like pop-up to question the user, like, hey, do you see this window type of thing? And I could probably do that with IMGUI pretty quickly, but that's kind of going on the back burner. That's just for the future at some point. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time.